This all started on a scorching hot afternoon in Gainesville, a quiet suburban neighborhood where nothing exciting ever happens. I was just walking home from work, tie loosened, sweat dripping down my back, when I spotted her. A little girl, no older than 8 or 9, with the cutest blonde pigtails bouncing as she moved. She had set up this adorable lemonade stand right on the sidewalk in front of a neat little house. Hand-painted sign, paper cups stacked perfectly. The whole thing screamed, "I did this all by myself." I couldn't help but smile. Kids like that, they're pure innocence in a cynical world. And man, she was working hard, fanning herself with a piece of cardboard, looking like she was about to melt under the sun. I should have kept walking, but something about her charm pulled me in. As I got closer, she looked up at me with these big, sparkling blue eyes, a whimsical, childish gleam that could melt even the coldest heart. "Hey, mister," she called out in the sweetest voice. "You want to partner up? I sure could use some help with my business." She wiped her forehead dramatically, like a cartoon character, smearing a little dirt across her cheek. It was adorable. I chuckled and stopped. "Partner up, huh? And what kind of help does a little entrepreneur like you need?" Her face lit up like I'd just given her the best compliment in the world. Her eyes glistened in the sunlight as she beamed. "It's super simple, mister." She held up one tiny finger right in front of my face for emphasis. "All you gotta do is help me once a year." I raised an eyebrow. "Once a year? This looks like a full summer operation to me, kiddo. Lemonade season doesn't last forever." She giggled, covering her mouth with her hands shyly, peeking through her fingers. "No, silly, just one time every year. I've been out here all day trying to find partners, but nobody takes me seriously." Then she pouted, crossed her little arms, furrowed her brow, and stuck out her lower lip. It was the most heartbreaking thing I'd seen in ages. She looked so genuinely hurt, like the world had let her down by not believing in her big dreams of making a few extra bucks. My heart shattered right there. How could anyone say no to that? "Okay," I said, playing along. "So what exactly do I have to do once a year?" She bounced on her toes excitedly. "Easy. You just come by and buy a lemonade from me. Mama calls it an investment opportunity." I glanced at my watch. I was already running late for, well, whatever mundane thing I had planned that evening. But upsetting this kid? No way. I figured I'd throw her a bone, make her day. "All right, sweetie," I said with a grin. "You've got yourself a deal. I'll swing by every year and buy a lemonade just from you. How's that sound?" She glowed, absolutely radiated happiness. I felt good about it, like I'd done a small act of kindness in a world that needs more of them. She poured me a cup right then and there, extra ice with a little umbrella straw she pulled from who knows where. I paid her double what it cost, raised the cup in a toast, and tipped my imaginary hat to successful partnerships. As I turned to leave, feeling pretty pleased with myself, her voice rang out again, sweet as ever. "Wait, mister, you forgot to sign the contract." I laughed to myself. Wow, this kid is really committed. Contract for lemonade? Adorable. I was in a hurry now, so I jogged back quickly. There she was, standing tall behind her stand, pen in one hand, a sheet of paper in the other. Her pigtails swayed gently in the breeze. "Of course," I said, deepening my voice like I was closing a big business deal. "How unprofessional of me." She pointed to the dotted line with her tiny finger. I didn't even glance at the paper. What was there to read? Fine print on a kid's lemonade contract? Come on. I scribbled my name, handed back the pen, and that's when everything changed. She snatched the paper lightning fast, stuffed it into the pocket of her overalls, and started laughing. At first it was cute, childish giggles full of joy, but then it deepened, twisted, grew louder, echoing unnaturally. It wasn't happy anymore. It was demonic, inhuman. Her head twitched side to side, her body rocking like a broken pendulum. The laughter filled my ears, drowning out everything else. The world around me dimmed like the sun was suddenly eclipsed. Her eyes, oh God, her eyes turned pitch black, empty voids burning with hellish fury, the kind you only read about in ancient texts or nightmare fuel. Nausea hit me like a truck. Dizziness spun my vision. My eardrums felt like they were about to explode from the grating, endless cackle. The last thing I saw was her face contorting to something unholy. Then my body slammed into the grass. Darkness swallowed me whole. I woke up in my own bed. My room was immaculate, bed perfectly made, everything spotless, but I had zero memory of getting home. I was covered head to toe in thick, dark red mud. It caked my skin, my clothes, under my nails. My fingertips blackened like I'd been digging in soot or ash. And the pain, a deep, crude gash ran from my abdomen all the way up to my neck. It had been stitched, roughly, like someone in a hurry used whatever thread they had. My whole body throbbed. A headache pounded like Satan himself was hammering my skull. But worst of all, the taste in my mouth, metallic, coppery, like I'd been sucking on pennies, or something worse. Blood. I stumbled to the mirror. What stared back wasn't me anymore. I looked like I'd aged 5 years overnight, hair matted and wild, beard grown feral, mouth smeared with dark stains, gore. Panic rising, I noticed the TV was on, blaring a breaking news report. Breaking. Arson investigators are on the scene of a devastating house fire in a Gainesville neighborhood. The house was completely engulfed overnight. Authorities say accelerant was used and they're searching for a suspect still at large. Tragically, the family inside, including a young child, did not survive. They showed footage of the charred remains, that lawn, that sidewalk, the melted remnants of a lemonade stand. It hit me like a train freight. My blackened fingers, the mud, no, ash and blood. The gash, self-inflicted or forced. I'd done it. In that blackout, the zest or controlled, I'd burned that house down, killed them all. My stomach churned. I dropped to the floor, curling into a ball, dry heaving. That's when I saw it, a small note on my dresser, in childish handwriting with a smiley face. "See you next year." She didn't take my soul all at once, no eternal damnation right away. That's too easy. The devil, in the form of that cute little girl, collects a piece every year, forces me to do her bidding. One horrific act, one more stain on my soul. And next summer, she'll be waiting, with her lemonade stand, her contract, her smile. I can't run, I can't hide. The deal is signed. In blood, probably.
So if you ever see a little girl selling lemonade alone on a hot day with pigtails and a too perfect smile, keep walking. Don't stop. Don't sign anything, because some investments cost more than money. What would you have done? Would you have stopped to help? Let me know in the comments below. But seriously, be careful what deals you make, even the innocent ones.
Tucked away down a dark, forgotten lane, behind a curtain of twisted black oaks, stood an old, isolated house. A woman named Ellen lived there by herself. On cold, quiet nights, she'd sit by the crackling fire with a book until her eyes started to droop. But on this night, just as she was drifting off, the phone rang, sharp and loud in the silence. "Who calls this late?" she thought. "Hello?" A low, gravelly voice answered. "I'm going to kill you." "Who is this?" Nothing. "Who is this?" Her hand started to shake. Click. She immediately called the police, explained the threatening call, voice racing. The officer said, "Hold on, ma'am, tracing it now." A beat. "It's coming from inside your house." "That's impossible. How?" "Probably broke in." "Oh, yeah, okay. That makes sense. And one more thing. I'm not actually the police." "You're not?" "No, it's me, the guy from before. I never hung up." "But I heard a click." He made a perfect click with his tongue. "Like that?" "That's scarily good." "Thanks." "So you're really in my house?" "Yep." "Where?" His breathing got heavier. "I really like your hair." "You can see me right now?" "Clear as day." "Okay, then what am I wearing?" "Banana Republic blouse, Ann Taylor loft skirt." "Okay, that's unsettlingly accurate." Suddenly he gasped. "Wait, what the hell is that?" "What?" "There's a ghost right by the couch." "You're messing with me again." "Swear to God, little kid, all translucent." Ellen turned and gasped. "Oh my God, there is a ghost! Little boy!" "Gross, he's see-through," the killer whispered. The ghost floated closer. "Play with me." "He talks!" the killer yelped. "Play with me," the boy repeated, holding a ragged old kite. "Hard pass, kid." "He can't hear you," Ellen said. "Speakerphone, quick." She switched it on. "Hey, we're not playing. Go bug someone else." The boy tilted his head. "Why? Playing is fun." "It's really not," the killer snapped. The ghost looked at Ellen. "Who are you? This is my house." "I'm Ellen. I live here now. The voice is Douglas." Hey," Douglas mumbled. "Douglas was hiding to kill me," Ellen added like she was introducing a friend. "That was the plan," Douglas sighed. "And you two are scared of a kid with a kite?" the ghost said. "A dead kid with a kite," Douglas shot back. Silence. Thick, awkward silence. Then the doorbell rang. "Expecting someone?" Douglas asked. It rang again. Ellen walked over and opened the door. A huge, ragged man stood there, blood-stained machete half hidden behind his leg. "Evening, ma'am. Car broke down. Can I come in to charge my phone?" No thank you." He jammed his boot in the door. "I think yes." He shoved inside. Ellen stumbled back. "Who's that?" Douglas screamed. "Homicidal drifter," the man grunted. "Who's yelling?" "That's Douglas," Ellen said, holding up the phone. "The killer already in my house." "Hiding where?" the drifter asked, suddenly nervous. "Closet," the ghost boy said brightly. The drifter leaped back. "What the fuck is that?" "Ghost," the ghost said. "Lived here 100 years ago. Want to play?" "No." "Nobody wants to play with me," the ghost wailed. "Nobody's flying a kite at midnight, kid. Let it go," Douglas shouted. The ghost started crying. "Douglas, you made him cry," Ellen scolded. "Sorry I'm stressed. You just let a machete guy in." "He forced his way in." "She's right," the drifter admitted. "Also, you're a killer too, Douglas." "Fair point," the drifter said. "And apologize to the kid." "Fine. Sorry, kid. Didn't mean to yell." The ghost sniffled, then smiled a little. Everyone relaxed, just for a moment. Doorbell again. "Don't!" all three yelled. Ellen opened it anyway. Nobody there, just a big wooden box on the porch. "This box gives me bad vibes," the drifter muttered. "I hate this box," the ghost agreed. Ellen dragged it inside. "Mind if I borrow the machete?" The drifter handed it over. She pried the lid off. Inside, a tattered, evil-looking clown doll with a stitched-on grin. "What is it?" Douglas panicked. "Super creepy clown doll." "I'm not playing with a clown," the ghost whimpered. "Let's put it back," the drifter said. Ellen saw a pull string, yanked it. The doll jerked awake. Eyes shifted. A cheerful, horrifying song played. "Welcome to my circus, circus of fun. Nowhere to hide, nowhere to run. You're all my guests in the big top. I'm going to kill you all, basically." It cackled maniacally. "Awesome choice pulling the string, Ellen," Douglas groaned. "What does that mean?" the ghost asked. "It was pretty clear," the drifter said. "How's a doll gonna—" Lights out, pitch black. "Who turned off the lights?" the ghost screamed. "I can't see anything," the drifter yelled. Ellen cried out. "Ellen?" Douglas shouted. "The clown got her," the drifter said, voice shaking. "We're next," the ghost sobbed. Lights flickered back on. Ellen was fine, just aggressively poking her eye. Contact slipped. "Please stop," the drifter grimaced. "What's happening?" Douglas asked. "She's digging in her actual eyeball," the ghost said, cringing. "So slippery," Ellen muttered, pressing deeper. "Think it folded under the lid. Can someone look?" Click. Phone hung up. "Douglas?" The ghost faded through the wall. "I'm done." Drifter dropped the machete with a clatter, stared blankly, and shuffled out the front door. "I hate this house," he mumbled into the night. And suddenly, Ellen was alone again, with the grinning clown doll on the floor, the open box, and whatever might come knocking next. Even killers, ghosts, and drifters have their limits. Which part made you lose it? The clown song, the eye poking, or everyone just noping out? Tell me in the comments what would make you run from that house first.
Growing up, my family moved a lot. Like, a lot. We were the kind of people who had permanent, miscellaneous boxes, taped up, labeled in Sharpie, and never opened from one move to the next. My dad was a great guy, but he didn't play well with bosses. He'd get a new job, we'd pack up when the lease ended, and we'd relocate closer to wherever he was working next. It was just our normal. In 2003, when I was around 8, Dad scored what seemed like the deal of the century. A little two-bedroom, one-bath house with a detached garage tucked in a rougher part of town. Rent? $300 a month. Insane, even back then. The landlord was up front, though. He said, "I'm required by law to tell you someone passed away in this house within the last 5 years. I won't go into details, but yeah." Dad shrugged it off. Cheap rent trumped everything. We signed the lease and moved in a week later. Things started almost immediately. It wasn't dramatic at first, just noises. Constant noises, like the house already had invisible roommates who paid no rent but made themselves at home. You'd hear drawers sliding open and shutting in the kitchen when no one was there, doors creaking open on their own, then slowly swinging closed, the bathroom faucet turning on full blast, then off again a minute later, footsteps overhead when we were all downstairs. Nothing malicious, no cold spots, no shadowy figures, no objects flying across the room, just presence, like someone else was always around, going about their day. Weirdest feature of the house? The front door. It had a keyhole on both sides, a double-keyed deadbolt. That meant if you locked it from the inside, you couldn't get out without the keys. No turning a knob and walking free. You needed the key to leave. You can probably see where this is going. Not even a week in, the keys vanished. Boxes everywhere, still unpacking chaos. Dad stressed, work's piling on, and now we can't lock or unlock the front door. He starts getting loud, yelling about responsibility, accusing me of hiding them, cursing up a storm. Then, clink. Right in the middle of the living room, in front of the couch, the keys hit the hardwood floor. Dropped from nowhere. No one near them, no ceiling vent above, just appeared and fell. Dad stares, picks them up, mutters something about maybe they fell off the TV stand or whatever, grabs them and heads to work like nothing happened. But that was just the beginning. Over the next few months, those keys became the star of the show. Every evening, Dad would come home, drop them in a glass bowl on top of our old tube TV. Routine, habit. Every morning, keys gone. We'd find them in the weirdest places, under couch cushions, inside closed drawers, once tucked into a pocket of a jacket still hanging in a box. But my favorite? We finally unpacked a sealed box of pots and pans, one we'd taped shut months earlier. There they were, shoved through one of the little handle cutouts on the side, like someone had spitefully jammed them in just to mess with us. We actually laughed at that one. Nervous laughter, sure, but still. Now you're thinking, okay, noisy house, prankster ghost with keys, kinda creepy, but not terrifying. Hold on. Here comes the part that still turns my stomach. The stomping. Almost every night between 2 and 3 a.m., heavy footsteps would start pacing the hallway outside our bedrooms. Not light steps, not creaking boards. Heavy, deliberate, like a grown man in work boots, back and forth, back and forth. I asked my dad years later if it freaked him out too. He admitted, yeah, it did. We'd lived there about 8 months when I hit my breaking point. One night the stomping starts. I'm exhausted, fed up, 8 years old with zero filter. I scream into the dark, "Stop stomping around! I need to sleep, God damn it!" 15 seconds of dead silence. Then it sounded like a charging bull. Thunderous footsteps sprinting straight towards my room. Boom, boom, boom. 3 massive knocks slammed against my bedroom door, so hard the frame shook. I froze. My dad jolted awake, called out, "Are you okay, buddy?" from his room, but I couldn't answer. Terror hit me like a wave. My whole body started shaking, and then my stomach twisted hard. I bolted out of bed, ran for the bathroom, but didn't make it. Left a trail the whole way. Dad followed, worried something worse had happened, found me on the toilet, crying, humiliated, terrified, explaining between sobs what I'd yelled and what came running. He cleaned me up, calmed me down, and said something I'll never forget. If you're ever scared, come sleep in my room. Nothing can bother you when I'm there. A week later, the final straw. Dad had been dating this woman, let's call her Sarah, for over a year. She'd been staying over more and more. Nice lady. Things were getting serious. One night they had a small argument before bed, nothing major, just bickering about chores or cleaning. They go to sleep grumpy. Around that cursed 2 to 3 a.m. window, Sarah wakes up on the floor. She'd been yanked out of bed by her ankle, dragged across the room and down the hallway. She said it took her a second to even realize what was happening, woke up mid-drag, felt an iron grip on her leg, pulling her like she weighed nothing. She screamed. Whatever had her, let go. She scrambled back to the bedroom, flipped on the lights, hysterical, telling Dad everything. Next day, he packed me off to my aunt's house, said it'd be safer without me there while he found us a new place. He stayed alone for a couple months, looking for somewhere else. During the final packing, he had friends come help. Every single one, the moment they walked in, said the same thing. "Hey, you got a little white dog in here?" Dad would look. No dog. Every visitor saw it, a small white dog wandering the house like it belonged there. We never had a dog, never saw one ourselves, but everyone who stepped inside during that move swore they saw it. We got out as fast as we could. And here's the bonus little cherry on top, the one Sarah told me years later. She'd brought over one of those big yoga balls, you know, the exercise ones. 8-year-old me was obsessed, bouncing it, rolling it, begging to play. She finally says, "Okay, but be gentle." We're lightly tossing it back and forth down the hallway. I give it a soft lob towards her. Mid-air, the ball stops. Dead stop, hangs there for a split second, then slowly rolls back to me, like someone invisible caught it and gently sent it back. Sarah said her blood ran cold. She was mortified, but didn't want to scare me, so she just smiled and said, "Actually, I'm tired of playing now. Let's do something else." She never told Dad until years later. That house was haunted, no question. I still drive past that street sometimes, wonder if the people living there now hear the stumping at 3 a.m., if they lose their keys and find them in sealed boxes, if visitors still see a little white dog that isn't there, or if whatever was in that house finally got what it wanted and moved on. Have you ever lived in a place that just felt occupied? Heard footsteps when no one was home, found things moved when you know you didn't touch them? Drop your stories in the comments. I read them all, and if you've got a haunted house tale, I might narrate it next.